All right, here it is. Ready? The moon is a picture. It's a picture in the sky from a projector. It's a projector. The stars are craft in the sky that they fly around and watch you and watch us with. The watchers. They're called the watchers. They're all around us, watching us and doing their little tricks and maneuvers and their little things. And they were here long before we got here. They've had plenty of time to practice this shit and perfect this shit. Okay? And they've perfected the art of creating holograms in the sky for you. And they've created a hologram moon for you now. Okay, it's been there all the time. The moon hasn't always been there, but they brought it in. And history has recorded that the moon hasn't always been there. They brought this thing in and created it on some projector, some sort of projector, and me and other people that I'm talking to are noticing that there's a so-called star or whatever, the big bright star, always next to the moon, somewhere near the moon that comes. They both show up at the same time, and then all of a sudden the moon shows up. When the star shows up, this light in the sky shows up next to the moon, which is a craft with some sort of projector on it, with a cloaking device, so you can't see where it's shooting the beam out at it, but it's creating this hologram projection of this moon-looking thing, and the moon, and this craft disappears every time. Every time that the moon it moves a little bit over there and does funny things. It's always in different parts of the sky, doing different stuff all the time. Doesn't make sense what it does. And then all of a sudden, this thing disappears. This big star, a so-called star, just disappears out of nowhere. Where did it go? And then the moon just moves and goes away. It's just gone, and in all sorts of different directions, and it just shows up out of nowhere. It doesn't start at any specific point. It just shows up in the middle of the sky. The moon just boom, just shows up. This big bright light. You can't. The moon is not a planet you can walk on. The moon is light. You can't walk on light. And if the moon is light, where is it coming from? It's supposed to be coming from the sun, supposedly. Well, then if it's at nighttime, you would see a big beam of light having to shoot across the sky from the sun to light the moon up. Where's that big beam of light? We never see that. It's always a pure dark sky, and the light's only coming from the moon itself. So where's the beam of light lighting it up? Therefore, it's fake right there. But the moon is it's big light. You can't walk on a light, so it's not a planet. But they're telling you it's a planet. So therefore, the moon covers a lot of things. It kills a lot of birds with one stone. Let's put it that way. It gives you a planet. So therefore, you think you live on a ball Earth. You think you see a ball out there. They say that moon's a planet. Therefore, therefore you think you live on a planet because they can point you and go, well, that's a planet. We call that a planet. It's round. That's what you live on. So there's this projection that they put up in the sky there. This projection in the sky gives you your planets. It also gives you space, because if you got space, the planets, you have to have space out there. So then they give you fake space hoax, your fake planet hoax, all in one right there. Then you get your gravity. They say that the moon creates gravity and does women's menstrual cycles and all that shit. When the moon is actually timed to women's menstrual cycles, it's just a projection up there, and they just say that they give it a blood moon every so often to go with the women's menstrual cycles too. It's all just timed. See how they do it? So they can. It's just all just. It's not coincidence that they did all this. Okay, it's all set up to look like it's the moon making it happen, when it's not actually the moon making it happen. It's just them having knowledge of prior to what the women's menstrual cycles happen every month. See, that's a given fact. But then they say that the moon had something to do with that. No, women's menstrual cycles are a natural thing that already happened in the beginning, and they said that they put this projection up there, and they said this is what created women's menstrual cycles. No, it didn't create women's menstrual cycles. They don't go from the moon, and the moon has nothing to do with women's menstrual cycles. Women's menstrual cycles are just women's menstrual cycles. Okay, so they take this fake projection up there to control women's menstrual cycles, to control gravity, to put you to now they say that it controls gravity, and gravity is not controlled by the moon. Gravity, there's no such thing as gravity. Then it controls the tides. They say it controls the tides. It doesn't control the tides. What controls the tides is Mount Meru at the North Pole, with the big four rivers going to the rock, the mountain of Mount Meru, and they're sucked in every 6 hours, and then they're washed back out again every 6 hours. That's what creates the tides, not the moon. And you know, it's so there's they say it creates gravity. There's another thing that there's another thing that they say that the moon does. It sure does a lot, doesn't it? See how much this moon covers? See how many fake hoaxes you get from the moon? Then you also get orbiting. We're supposed to be orbiting around the moon. There's another fake theory of orbiting. You know, what are you going to get? Two rocks. They call it Big Bang. A Big Bang happens, and then two big asteroids collide into each other, and then you get Earth and the moon. And all of a sudden, you get this perfect sphere of a moon. It's supposed to be perfectly round. It should be all like an oblong rock, like all weird shaped and everything from it, but it's perfectly round and lit up. That's not what would happen. That's not what it would look like if that was. And then all of a sudden, it starts orbiting. All of a sudden, two things smash into each other, and they decide they're going to orbit around each other. That wouldn't happen at all. It would smash each other, and they just would go their separate ways and take off. If there was so-called space, which there isn't, but I mean, if all this bullshit was to happen, it wouldn't look like that. What they're saying, it would be just everything would take off and do its own thing. You know, and there is no such thing as any of this. Can you see what hogwash it all is? It's hogwash. So we've looked at the moon all my life. I've been looking at the moon, and many people have said, you know, this one girl was stating before her grandma died, she said, and her grandma had said in the past that she looked at the moon, she goes, that's a picture. You know, that's a picture in the sky. Many people have said it looks like a picture in the sky. Well, it is. It's a picture in the sky. You know, they're right. It's just a picture that they put up there for you with a hologram projector, some blue beam, Project Blue Beam at its best. You know, and they've got, you know, cloaking devices to hide themselves and all kinds of things. So the moon's a hoax. It's from a projector, and that's it. It does a lot of things all in one. You know, and it puts you in space. It gives you the orbiting theory. You know, nothing orbits around each other. If those things smashed in, they wouldn't orbit around each other. And nothing does anything like this. The moon's real close to us. You can see it. It's like, you know, what, 5 miles away. 5 miles of this projection. It's not 238,000 miles away or whatever the hell they say it is. You wouldn't be able to see it. You know, you wouldn't be able to see the damn thing. And it's a light. It's clearly a light in the sky. You know, it's not a planet. There's no such thing as that. But it's a light in the sky. It doesn't turn. It doesn't revolve. It only shows you one face the whole time. You know, if it was revolving around us, you would see it moving and see different things would happen to it. It's just one face looking at you the whole way of a light. Where's the planet? It's a light. Would we revolving around a light? You know, I mean, and then you see it every night come up. You wonder what it is all the time. You wonder about how could it get there and all this stuff. The only thing, the way it is a projection. It's a projector shooting it up there as a picture. The moon is a picture, just a picture in the sky from a projector. Just wanted to let you know that. I love you all. And there's some new news there for everybody. New news, just fresh out of the blocks there. New news. The moon is a picture.